DDG episode 101. My name is Dave Hunt. I'm joined by Michael Swick.
How is it going, Dave? I'm a little, I've been back in town for like 3-4 days, but I'm a little jet lagged still somehow. It's more dread that I have to go into work.
I'm actually doing pretty good. Trying to get... I'll tell you what, like the 9 weeks straight that I did of overnights, and then 2 weeks of daytime, and then 1 week of overnights, that kicked my ass more than anything. So...
Yeah, no, like last week went on vacation, went to Disneyland, met with friends, also got engaged. So
congratulations there.
Thank you. So it was a very eventful last week. So I didn't really play any video games, was running around from Monday to about Friday night. So really excited about the engagement and like all that planning that's going to have to go into that, everything after that. So a lot of planning stuff that needs to be done. So video games took a backseat, but the good thing is we got a lot of video game news to talk about this week.
Yeah. We both have a lot of adult things going on right now in our lives.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. But
it's October. And the baseball playoffs start this week, and football season is actually getting interesting. So I'm pretty happy with like putting some stuff on TV and just doing some other stuff. And so this is kind of like my wife really likes fall, and I like fall because of like I love baseball, but it's been so hard to watch lately. And then like the regular season is so long, but the playoffs are always like super interesting.
And basketball season has like I think it's only a 4-game preseason, so like
yeah. October is like the best sports month. So,
yeah.
Just with some stuff starting and everything, so it's great. But we are Digital Days Gaming. We are a weekly podcast that will have produced 101 episodes consecutively as you're listening to this. We post every Thursday on podcast services of choice. If there's a service you use and we're not on there, let us know. There's probably a really good reason. Like you probably use something really random, but you also wouldn't be hearing this if you didn't use the service. So we hit another download milestone for Michael and myself, which is pretty cool. So that's always a good thing of little bars that we've set. That's a number that we'll just keep between the two of us. But it's a kudos to the listeners and you guys sharing the show and reviewing the show and allowing more people to expose it. I think somebody discovered the show today and downloaded every single episode.
That's always fun when that happens.
Yeah, so that's always a nice spike.
And I think that anytime that happens, it's always someone that probably uses iTunes still, because iTunes, when you subscribe to a podcast, is like, oh, you want all of this, and then it'll just auto-download everything.
And we weren't affected too much. Our social media presence is heavily Facebook with our Facebook group, and Facebook being down for whatever it was, 6 hours, 8 hours, or whatever, didn't seem to affect too much, other than just a lot of people apparently tried to use Twitter that didn't know how to use it.
I'm just glad like we got me and Sarah got our engagement post up on Facebook before it went down, or we would have been like, what, does no one like
nobody
us?
Cares, what is this? Maybe we shouldn't have done this. No, you absolutely have. I have never met her face to face, but I'm very happy for you because you guys are great just through the social media stuff and even the interaction that the four of us, like you and your now fiance and me and my wife, have is always been super interesting. So hopefully we'll get to meet in person, or at least Angela and Sarah will get to meet in person soon.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of social links in the show notes, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, all that stuff is there. And again, if you can just share the show and leave a review, that is super, super helpful to help us grow. Like we talked about before, getting into the triple digits now, I feel like kind of establishes us of like, hey, like we're not going anywhere. And it'll be 2 years. DDG will be 2 years old in like 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks. So that's pretty cool.
Because we launched like right before my birthday in November.
It was like November 1st. I feel like was the day. So yeah,
because like October was us just being like, so we're gonna do this, and then
some of that stuff starting to show up on my Facebook memory feeds, and I'm like, it was a rough couple weeks. Mm-hmm. But the end result is amazing and fascinating. So, all right. So we're going to kick it over to some news.
All right. Where to begin? I put this list together. This isn't even everything I wanted to talk about, but I was like, at a certain point, I'm like, okay, we had to cut off what we talk about. This just dropped today. PS3 and Vita stores are removing the ability to use a credit card, debit card, or PayPal as payment options. So this feels like the monkey paw thing of like, we'll keep the store alive, but you can't buy content, or it's going to be harder to buy content. The only way to buy content as of October 27th will be with PSN cards. You won't be able to use a credit card, debit card, or PayPal on the store. Really sucks. It kind of puts a deadline, at least for me, on when I want to buy those like PS1 classics that are kind of hard to come by physically, because I just don't feel like getting PSN cards and going through that hassle. Though I believe you can load credit on, if you use your credit card, debit card on your PS4 or your PS5, you can load credit that way.
I think you're right.
That will be in your wallet you can use on PS3. So there's ways around this. The crazy thing is, in Japan, you can only buy age-gated content if you have a credit card on file. So they are going to basically not allow age-gated content to be purchased in Japan as of October 27th. So kind of like, definitely Sony just being like, we're going to find a way to cut costs and a way to cut costs.
I would say this is probably, like, again, from a transactional standpoint, I see some stuff like in my job of like percentages that are taken for credit cards, and we see stuff through DDG, and Michael and myself use PayPal a lot as we move stuff around. And so we definitely see, like, PayPal's a business, so they need to make money as a business. And I bet you it comes down to like, hey, our sales are already this much lower than they normally are, and now PayPal is doing this, and we have to keep the server alive on that archaic system, and who knows like what the number is. Like, I would be shocked if the digital sales on PS3 are over 4% of Sony's income.
Oh yeah, no, it's a very low percentage. It's definitely still pulling in income, but it's at a point where it's getting lower, and I feel like this is a move just to justify next year when they return to be like, listen, it's barely getting any traction now because it's now harder to purchase things.
Yep.
And then it just gives them more justification to kill those servers before the 25th anniversary. Because I feel like the 25th anniversary is when, like, you need to have everything down before that anniversary, because then it just seems weird if they kill it on the 25th or immediately after, which I think we're like 4 years away from that happening. 2006, so we're like 5 years away from that. That point. Oh wait, no, that would have been the 20th anniversary. Sorry.
Yeah. Before
we hit the 20th anniversary is when they're going to want to kill.
Thought we already hit. Didn't they have a big 20th anniversary PlayStation 4?
No, that was for the PS1 back then.
But didn't they release a special edition PlayStation?
I believe that was the 25th anniversary of the PS1. That's why it looks like a PS1.
Oh, okay. You want 25th anniversary of PS3. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you need to do it before the 20th or 25th anniversary. Otherwise, it's just like, it just feels in poor taste to like celebrate like that milestone and immediately kill the servers. So they probably want to do it before then. Now, which would be the 20th anniversary, which would be like 2005, 2006. So 2025.
Yeah. So we're right around 20. Yeah, 20 was last year, or was this year, 2021.
No. We're approaching the 20th anniversary.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it came out in like 2006.
Right.
So we're not too far from it. But yeah, this is just them finding ways to, cut those server costs, because it does cost money for security to make sure those transactions are safe. So this just takes care of that. And then again, like you mentioned, like the PayPal credit card fees that a lot of the companies usually eat just because it's just not that big a deal for them. That's happening. We're like a year away from them closing that store permanently and being like, hey, we kept it open a year. Maybe they'll give actual better notice of like a year or two notice that they're going to close it, but we'll get that soon. Next story. It's what everyone, I think, that follows video games were waiting for this morning for the stream, but the final Smash Brothers Ultimate character was revealed, and it is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Huge fan of Kingdom Hearts. So this was cool. I'm not the biggest Smash Brothers fan, but Sora looks amazing in it. This is the final character in the game. This is the 82nd character in Smash Brothers Ultimate. Looks phenomenal. Sakurai did like his whole thing where they do a full move breakdown, show you all the tracks they're going to use for the soundtrack. So Sora is going to come with his own stage. several different costume types, a bunch of spirits, and then 9 tracks from Kingdom Hearts will be included in this.
Very cool.
Yeah, this was the one that everyone was wondering, because like, who really owns Sora? Is it Square Enix and Disney, or is it just Square Enix? I think the answer is Square definitely just owns Sora, because there's certain assets that they used for this stage that had Donald and Goofy in it in the Kingdom Hearts games that Donald and Goofy are now missing from those like art assets. So Disney definitely kind of scrubbed some of that stuff before sending it over, though there is a Mickey Mouse emblem on Sora's Keyblade, which is kind of cool, so they're able to at least get one Disney reference into this character. Dave, we know you're a big Smash Brothers fan and Kingdom Hearts fan, so...
Yeah. I know. I mean, Kingdom Hearts as a franchise has always interested me, and as I start looking into it, I get terrified by how much content is in there. But and then like for Smash, like it's cool. It's another character that is a fan want forever. So like I think that's fascinating. It is always super interesting to me to see, like, I believe Square Enix owns the Kingdom Heart IP, obviously, and now it looks like it obviously looks like Square Enix owns Sora. But Disney's like, okay, we'll give you permission to use our characters and voices in your game, but that's as far as you get.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you can use the Mickey Mouse emblem, but that's it. You're scrubbing Donald and Goofy from the art, and you're going to go through there. But the fact that they were able to get this done, I think most Smash Brothers fans are happy with this. It wasn't another Fire Emblem character.
Yeah. It's a cool way to tie a bow on Smash. So I mean,
and I really think this is like tying the bow on the franchise for a long time. Like I don't even think we get a Smash Brother on the next Nintendo platform until like halfway or towards the end of whatever generation that is.
Do you think the game's gonna fall out of balance eventually, though? Like where something's gonna I mean, it's obviously a competitive game. It can be a competitive game, and as we start to come out of the pandemic, it's a better competitive game in person. But then there's always the rules, like Meta Knight used to be like banned character, and but I guess as the game falls out of balance, the fighting game community will just balance it with rules.
Yeah. Ultimate has surprisingly been pretty balanced compared to other iterations of Smash Brothers. The Wii U Smash Brothers was horribly unbalanced and was abandoned relatively quickly by most fighting game tournaments, because they either had to ban characters or their tournament would just turn into like Bayonetta versus Bayonetta versus Bayonetta sort of scenarios. So they've done a really good job with balance on this one, and for the most part, every time they introduce a character, they don't seem to get overly favored in competition. It tends to like actually work itself out. It's definitely going to give Nintendo more reason now that Sora's out and there's no more characters coming to care even less for the online play.
Right.
Of this game. Like, so I'm guessing they're done tweaking online play, but that might balance itself out as people leave and no more characters come to it. But I just don't know what this franchise does after this, because like 82 characters is a lot. So if you do another Smash Brothers, you need to start with 82 characters.
Yeah, that's
gonna be
crazy.
A letdown.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's nuts. We talked about that, like Amiibo. You make it free to play, but you have to buy Amiibos. Like,
man, and they were showing all the Amiibos, but they didn't announce a Sora Amiibo. But I'm guessing that's coming because they have an Amiibo for like every character. But I don't even know if that's like a rights nightmare to make a Sora Amiibo. But damn it, that'll be the first Amiibo I own.
Yeah, I was about to say, Michael will be hovering over that pre-order button. Like, he'll have his phone open, Sarah's phone open, his computer open, and his laptop open.
Yeah, and if they all happen to pre-order, I guess I just own 5 Soras. And then they did announce all the Kingdom Hearts games are coming to the Switch via cloud streaming. The cloud streaming stuff kind of makes sense for 3. They're doing, the remasters of all the games. So that makes sense that it's cloud streaming. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping to get like a box and Kingdom Hearts on the cart, even though that would probably be like 10 or 20 carts to house all those games.
What about, like, do you think that they would do like, how is So like all these characters, like this is my naiveness with Smash, but everything is when like if I was to go to the store and buy Smash Brothers Ultimate like right now and put the cartridge in my Switch, do I get all 82 characters?
No. So they did 2 DLC passes.
Okay. So where's the game of the year edition?
It's Nintendo. I don't think they give a shit. There might be a Game of the Year edition for the next...
I could see them doing, and this might make you like, could you see a special edition OLED Switch as with a Smash Brothers dock?
No, I could definitely see that once it's done, and then it just comes with the characters.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult though for them because of how this game has like grown. To do
there's no way they're going to fit it all on the cartridge. You're going to get the cartridge and open up all the codes.
Like each character comes with anywhere from like 5 to 10 songs and their own stage and a bunch of costumes. The thing that gets tricky, I feel, though, is how I kind of lost the train of my thought just thinking of all the characters. But the balances is one thing, but like just... how they package that up in like an ultimate edition to like make it work is where it can get a little complicated, because it'd be cool to have all the characters like on one cart.
You get to the point of diminishing returns though, right? Like where there needs to, like, whether it's space or people people wanting to just take their cartridge, over to their buddy's house or whatever and play, or take their info and put it on any amiibo and supposedly go to their buddy's house and play with their characters that are unlocked and stuff. But like if all the content is on my Switch, like that kind of sucks. So I would be really curious to see how they handle this, because like I still think we're going to see Smash Brothers in NPD for a while. Like it's still going to be a game that sells. It's still going to be a game that drives numbers. Yeah,
which is why they wouldn't, because Ultimate Editions, usually you lower the price of the original game and then...
But I don't think they need to do that if they sit there and say it's $59 for everything.
No, but the problem is Smash Brothers right now is on sale for $40, but it's still at $60. Like this week it's on sale for $40 because of the Sora announcement, and they're smart like that. But... it's always $60.
Each expansion is like $10 or whatever, or like how much are they?
$30, I believe.
Oh wow, okay.
Because it's like 6 characters, and each character comes with a shit ton of songs. So it's expensive, and Nintendo isn't really known for giving deals in terms of, if they release a Game of the Year edition, are they just going to market $60 when they're still getting away with selling the original for $60? Probably not. Maybe they bundle all the DLC into a lower package, but I think
I guess maybe I could see them being okay. So now that I'm thinking about this out loud, being Nintendo and being like, okay, here is a special edition OLED Switch Smash Brothers edition, and that's the only way to get the Game of the Year edition, and it's preloaded on the Switch. Like that's it. Like that could happen.
I could see that being a thing, or it just comes with the DLC code for the 2 expansions.
No, but I meant like the only way to get that, like that's still priced, whatever their special editions are priced, and the only way to get the quote unquote Game of the Year edition is with that Switch.
I could see them doing something like that, especially with like the new the OLED Switch coming out. I could see them doing a bundle for that. And then I didn't include the news story, but like apparently there's several developers that have dev kits that Nintendo denies exist.
No, but
so
like they're saying, like I think
too.
they're saying they were working on it, and then it sounds like Nintendo pulled the plug.
Yeah, Nintendo just couldn't source enough parts, and we're just like, okay, well, let's cut this out.
Yeah,
and it just got away from them. That's the only way I can see like them doing a Game of the Year edition is if they like on the new Nintendo Switch or whatever they call it. Smash Brothers comes out for that, and it actually includes all the DLC.
Yeah.
But you can only play that version of Smash Brothers on that new Nintendo.
Yeah. It'll have like the protruding, like it'll be the same exact cartridge, but it'll have this little protruding edge on the top that can only fit in the new one.
Yeah, it'd be some bullshit like that. That's the only way I can see that happening for them. But let's move into like the rumor section of this. Rumors have been turning out to be pretty damn accurate depending on the outlet that you're picking from. So these could be damn near close to true, especially Video Game Chronicles has turned into like the place to go for leaks The first one is Konami appears to be like kind of waking from their slumber of being just a gambling machine manufacturer. So according to Video Game Chronicles, they are apparently able to source that Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid are being worked on by Konami right now. When it comes to Castlevania, that is being developed internally. And then when it comes to Metal Gear Solid, that is being worked on by Virtuos. And apparently they're working on a potential Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater remaster. Virtuos, they're known for their Switch ports as of late. It's like they worked on Dark Souls remaster for the Switch, BioShock Collection for the Switch, but they've also contributed to games like Horizon Zero Dawn and Uncharted 4. So they're like an artillery studio for hire. I just included that just because of all the Crystal Dynamics stuff last week. Of just like, hey, look, even Sony, who has like a ton of studios, hire these places, but they don't talk about it or announce it.
Yeah.
It's in the credits, but they don't, do a press release on it. Therefore, they catch less heat.
It's also very rare that they bring out those studios bring out AA or AAA games and then go help. So
yeah,
publicly.
Yeah. So I don't know. Where did you want to start with this Konami thing? Just because Castlevania and Metal Gear being back. Do you think this is
I don't really sure. Like, okay, Konami's trying to maybe they put some people in management at Konami that actually like have matter between their ears the last couple of years. This would be a good direction. This is what people would want. The thing that I'm actually more interested about that you don't have in here is the huge rumors that Kojima is working on.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that VGC were able to source those two things, but they didn't include the third part of the story, which is the Sony has taken the Silent Hill license or has rented or leased the Silent Hill license to give to Kojima, which to me just still sounds too outlandish of a concept. It
sounds like too much of a perfect storm of like what everybody would want. Like, okay, like they want him doing Silent Hill. He has a studio that he's willing to do it. Sony's willing to pay for the IP right. Like it seems like there's too many things that are falling into place too specifically.
Yeah. And then Jeff Grubb still says that Kojima has a letter of intent signed with Microsoft, which doesn't mean he can't work on multiple projects. But just the idea that Kojima, who has 1,000 ideas, most likely, if you look at Death Stranding, there's so many ideas in that game.
I would love to get my hands on his notebooks.
Right? But just the idea that Sony is going to go through the trouble to then contact Konami, who's out of the game right now, and be like, hey, let's split a game 50-50 that we're going to give to Kojima.
Well, but then the same concept comes, I agree with everything you're saying, but then, again, like we talked about earlier about the return on investment, I'm trying to phrase this correctly. Would Silent Hill made by Kojima hit the figure that Sony wants it to hit in 2024?
So apparently, so do you mean commercial success or just the amount of time that they would want things to be developed?
Both.
Okay.
So we know that he'll take a while, a longer-ish amount of time to make the game. Like that will be a thing. But then I'm not sitting there saying it is or isn't supposed to be, and I'm not saying that Sony is or isn't focused on blockbusters, but that appears to be the direction that Sony is right now. This would fall into the the second party thingy jiggy that they would do to be like, hey, this is what we're doing to be reaching out to devs. But do you think this would sell 4 million copies?
Yeah, so Death Stranding did really well, so I'm assuming Death Stranding did really well. It sold millions of copies. I don't know how many millions, but I can see PlayStation seeing that Death Stranding, a very weird game, was sold on a name, and they're like, what if we give that name a franchise?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I just don't know if that genre, if we talked about it before, if it's just been too long, if it will be too long by the time it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. The only thing that I think complicates this for PlayStation is just the Konami aspect. Mm-hmm. Is it worth their time and money if they have to split it with Konami?
Considering their deal, Konami kind of backhanded them with the Kojima deal initially and made them delay it because they held him to his contract till the end of the until like the 11th hour.
and could it be one of those things where just like, even if Sony's just like, okay, Kojima with Silent Hill, that can sell 5 million copies. Even if Konami is crazy enough to be like, we only want 10%, is Sony going to be like, the fuck are we going to give them 10% for? Like, why don't we just have Kojima make a
Silent Hill like game and call it, something else?
Sony owns like Siren, like as an IP. They could just slap Siren on that, and that'll bring them some value that might make up for whatever percentage.
Yeah,
Konami
I
would want.
100% agree with you. Like the reason why Death Stranding got the clout that it got before it ever came out was because it was a Kojima production.
Yeah,
like. And people were like, well, it's I tons of people that I even knew. It's a Kojima game. I don't care. I'm playing it. What is the game? It doesn't matter. It's a Kojima game. I'm playing it. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah. People were more willing to give Kojima like the slack to do crazy things and then see how they work out.
So. I didn't want to go down that whole route, but I mean, you have to kind of talk about it. What Konami again is just like, this is fine. Like they're playing it safe, and if they're gonna remaster these games, which is par for the course at this point in generation, as well as what we've been talking about of coming out of either in or out or up or down through a pandemic of air quote lighter work. Like this is like to remaster a game is lighter work, or to remake a game is lighter work. You're not developing. It's less risky. And Castlevania is a franchise that carries weight.
Well, right now, especially, like you're gonna have Metroid Dread coming out this week, which will probably sell millions of copies, and because it's
Metroid.
Yeah, and it's Nintendo, and also the Castlevania Netflix series is I think on its 3rd season. It's doing really well, but by the time
means that on Netflix, if you get past 2 seasons, you're like a gold standard.
Yeah, exactly. But we're getting to that point where Netflix tends to cancel stuff after 3 seasons.
Yep.
Like their prestige shows hit 3 seasons, and it's Konami. I feel like if they are doing this, they're almost going to be too late. Like they're finally gonna be like, all right, cool, we got a Castlevania game. Oh, Netflix canceled the show. Shit. Okay. Metroid is coming out, and they're like, Dread came out like 3 years ago. We're kind of over it right now, because that's how Nintendo is with Metroid. So they might be too late. Metal Gear makes sense, but I feel like anything they do with Metal Gear is going to be them battling uphill just because that franchise is so tied to Kojima that it's going to be automatically rejected without his involvement, especially if it's a remaster of a Kojima game. But at least Konami thinks they appear to be doing something. And they have they own the Hudson Soft games. They have a bunch of stuff in their back catalog that they can work with. I have a feeling the most we're going to get from Konami is kind of like what Capcom's been doing the last couple years, where it's just like a shit ton of remasters for a little bit and hope for success after that. Next thing that we're going to file under rumors, Lucid Games is working on a Twisted Metal game. So the Lucid is the ones that did Destruction All-Stars. This is again coming from VGC. This is apparently going to be free to play because Lucid Games learned a lot about kind of free to play and monetization from Destruction All-Stars, because that was kind of a mess with how I could already see Dave just like thinking about how Destruction All-Stars was handled.
I just don't care. Like, I'm not a Twisted Metal fan.
I used to be when I was a kid.
Yeah, and it terrifies me if Destruction All-Stars or whatever is doing this, because they did a terrible job with Destruction All-Stars, and now you're going to give them a free-to-play game that requires you to get the hook, and it's either, I'm sorry, like it's either a home run or it's a strikeout. Like there's no in between with free to play games anymore.
Especially Twisted Metal, like we've seen in the past. Like, Twisted Metal is of a time. I will say,
I could totally see people go, "Oh, a Twisted Metal free to play game. Sure, I'll download it." Oh, okay, I don't like this. I'm done. Like,
yeah, I like Destruction All-Stars, but it had that problem where it didn't know what it was supposed to be, if it was supposed to be free to play, and they didn't have like a full roadmap out right away for a live service game. Because remember, Destruction All-Stars was supposed to be a $70 game, and then it was supposed to be
a launch title.
a launch title, and then it turned into like, okay, we're a $50 game that'll be out in the spring, and then it went to like, oh, it's free to PlayStation Plus, and then it became like a $20 game after Plus, because why would anyone buy the game? So it found itself in this spot where after Plus happened, a lot of stores were dumping copies for like $20, but no one was buying them because they're like, this game must suck because it's $20. But it's like, no, it's because everyone with a PS5 owns it already, so no one wants to buy it.
So here's my problem, and I'll use a very current example. Okay, Michael, when's the last time you played Knockout City?
Before I went on vacation.
Okay,
I still play that.
But it carried a tremendous amount of clout at the beginning. Because it was Game Pass. It was on a discount
Premium.
it was on EA Play. It was on a discount with Plus, I believe, and then it was free to like level 25. They did a lot of interesting things, a lot of good moves, and it rode the wave during the summer, and it's done fabulous. I guess hindsight 2020, going the route of free to play right from the start, maybe is less investment on the development side of it. Not meaning that there's not investment on the development side, but less than, than making a priced game similar to Rocket League, who it was charging for a while, and rightfully so. It had value, and then went free to play and crossplay all at the same time. And I feel like Rocket League has even plateaued as well. It has its hardcore user base. It has its people that dabble with it, but there's no more in between. I'm not seeing as much Friday night, Saturday afternoon Rocket League as there was 4 years ago. So, so I feel like, again, like I said, like, hey, somebody's like, oh, I enjoy Twisted Metal, and it's going to show up on your PS5 toolbar when you log on as a free to play title, and I'll check it out, and you're like, okay, this is not what I remember when I was 16, 14, 12 years old. Like, they're just gonna move on.
Yeah, this is like. Again, I like Destruction All-Stars, but there just wasn't any longevity there. This clearly, they're going to probably tie this with the show that's going to be coming out in 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out, like, they just brought Wipeout back as, like, a mobile trading card game, like a mobile card racer. I wouldn't be surprised if this just isn't on a scale that we would expect from Twisted Metal.
But you'll also only hurt it.
Potentially, or it might be exactly what Twisted Metal needs, because they tried to go a little bit bigger with that Twisted Metal on PS3, and that game sucked. Like, they should have just remade Twisted Metal Black, but instead,
I mean, I have a hard time like talking about Twisted Metal only because, like, we talked about it a little bit on some of our Patreon episodes, and briefly on here, is like, I didn't really mess around too much in the PS1, PS2 era, so I don't have any attachment to Twisted Metal, like.
And I love Twisted Metal. I don't think a Twisted Metal game works in a modern era. Like, that was of a time.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff that went on that game similar to what we've talked about before, that if you try to release that in the 2020s, like, people are like, what the heck is that?
Well, not only that, just car combat in general, it's just doesn't hold my attention, at least. And I was a diehard fan, like, through Twisted Metal Black. I think this is PlayStation looking at, like, synergy possibilities with the Anthony Mackie Twisted Metal show that's going on, which they released, like, a synopsis where, like, Anthony Mackie's playing someone who's, like, trying to deliver a package through an apocalyptic wasteland. So it looks like that's very different than, like, the TV show kind of thing that Twisted Metal originally was going for. Because, like, Twisted Metal was like a competition that would grant you a wish if you won the competition, and this seems to be more of just like, oh, Anthony Mackie's driving through, like, a wasteland, and he'll probably meet cool cars along the way. So maybe if they match the game to what that TV show's trying to do, it'll work a little bit better if it's more of a straight up, like, racing game with some battling going on. But, like, I don't know if a Twisted Metal game is going to work. Free to play would probably be its only hope, because I don't see anyone putting down $70 for a Twisted Metal game in 2024 when this thing comes out.
For sure.
But we'll probably find out more about this when the, like, TV show comes out, because it would just make sense to tie it to the TV show. Which I still have no idea why they're doing a Twisted Metal TV show. And how much money they have to pay.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like something that has a narrative to drive a television show, but what do I know?
Yeah, I just want to know how much they paid Anthony Mackie for him to just go down to a Twisted Metal TV show. Like, the new Captain America is doing a Twisted Metal TV show is just baffling to me.
Yeah.
All right.
So what? Acquisition City this week, huh?
Yeah. And I don't even think this is all the acquisitions. I believe there's like one or two smaller ones. But first one, Netflix has acquired Night School Studios. So Night School Studios did Oxenfree After Party, and they're doing Oxenfree 2. Netflix a couple months ago announced that they're getting into games. So far, they've released like some licensed Stranger Things and Kate like mini like retro games. But they are testing mobile game offerings within the Netflix app in different regions around the world. So this is their first jump into purchasing a studio outright, and they chose Night School Studios, which is probably a good pick for Netflix, because Oxenfree is almost like a point-and-click adventure. Same thing with After Party. So this kind of fits into the choose-your-own-adventure style that Netflix might have to go with.
It can also possibly be played with a remote control, like not a controller, but a remote control.
Yeah, like with your Apple TV remote or your Roku remote.
Yep.
It'll probably work really well from this. The Night School Studios, they said Oxenfree 2 is still coming to the platforms that was previously announced. But I guess
and Netflix.
And Netflix most likely. This kind of scared me. I like Night School Studios. But them getting into bed with Netflix, like a non-gaming company, just worries me that if Netflix gets bored, they have no reason to keep it going.
No, I get that, but at the same time, I feel like this is. I still think these games are going to come to PlayStation and Xbox and PC. I don't think that this stuff's going to become Netflix exclusive.
I'm just worried about Netflix just being like, we're not going to do this anymore, and then they just kill the studio. I would hope they have a deal that like that studio that Stadia bought, and then when Stadia closed, that studio was able to continue to live and hold their IP. I hope it's a deal like that, because I wouldn't want the studio to have to.
I think it would
rebuild.
be. Like, I feel like it would be, but it's super interesting. Like we've been talking about with Game Pass and even like PS Now and stuff like that recently. Like to open up Netflix and to be able to play a video game, I think would be kind of fascinating.
Yeah, we just have to hope that their technology works and it's not just a bunch of choose your own adventure stuff, because that stuff's kind of been cool. Like they did what the Black Mirror, Kimmy Schmidt, Minecraft, and I think there's
fun.
one
like
more.
After Party was fun. Like it's just, but it wasn't like this long game that I wanted to play. But it was kind of like fun just to figure out like the puzzle aspect of it, and then just to do some like random thing. Like it was one of those, like I still remember the first time I played it, I was playing it like in a cubicle at an E3, and I was like, it was just on my list of games that I was assigned, and I was like, and then I locked out of there. I was like, that was a really fun 20 minutes. Like I enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's a fun game and it works well.
And I played it more after it launched, and it was solid. So.
Yeah, it's one of those games that could definitely be played on a TV with a basic remote.
Yeah.
So this definitely seems like a perfect
I would never
fit.
let Owen play it, but the.
But yeah, no idea how much this was for or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Netflix is now buying studios. And then we have a couple PlayStation acquisitions, kind of. The first one, so PlayStation,
acquisition of an acquisition.
Yeah. So PlayStation in September acquired Fire Sprite Studios. But Fire Sprite Studios has now acquired Fabric Studios, which is a smaller studio they have worked with before on their Persistence games.
Why is this worded like this? Like I don't understand. Like I know that so it's Sony, PlayStation Studios, and then underneath the PlayStation Studios umbrella is blah 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 blah. But would they come out and say Naughty Dog bought Fire? Like they were.
The only thing I can think of.
I don't get it.
The only thing I can think of is it was already in the process of being acquired.
Okay.
And then they had no choice but once it gets filed, then to say Fire Sprite Studios purchased the studio.
Okay.
Like, because these acquisitions can take several months. Like, Sony owns Fire Sprite, but they probably won't officially own them for like several months. But they're going to work under them until then. But yeah, so now the headcount for Fire Sprite is 265 people. So they have grown significantly, which if you then compare it to the next acquisition I'm talking about, they're a huge studio in comparison.
This has to be a VR move. This has to be a VR2 move, like, which is fine, which shows that Sony's committing to VR2, even though they've been very, very, very quiet about it in 2021, which I have my own concerns about, but that's fine.
Yeah, because Fire Sprite, they did Persistence VR, they did an Astrobot VR thing. And then the studio they acquired, Fabric, they have exclusively done PSVR and Oculus games. So this definitely seems to be an acquisition to where, like, okay, we're ramping up on a VR game. Let's just get that studio we were working with before.
And this could also be like a stopgap, or like I'm trying to think of the term, but stopping somebody else. We've heard, for years, we heard numerous rumors that Insomniac, and we haven't seen them mess with it yet, but Insomniac apparently had some fantastic VR tech going on. Fantastic VR tech going on. And there was rumors like that Oculus and Facebook are both the same, right? Yeah. We're trying to buy Insomniac because of what Insomniac was showing them, and it maybe pushed Sony to, up the ante a little bit and to finally, make the commitment. But this could be that thing, too, of where the studio maybe has something really cool with VR, and Sony's trying to stop it from going Oculus,
Yeah, well, this could have been one of those things where someone at Fire Sprite is like, how did we get that thing to work in VR? It's like, oh, we didn't get that to work. The studio we were working with got it to work, and they're just like, well, shit, let's go get them. Because Sony's giving us all this money, so we might as well use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess now they're just going to get folded into Fire Sprite, so this isn't like a new studio branch opening up at PlayStation.
Is this a lot of the old Liverpool team too?
Fire Sprite is. Fire Sprite is the Liverpool team for the most part. Okay. I don't know the Fabric or whatever their name. Yeah,
the only reason I asked that question is I want to make sure I wasn't mixing stuff up. I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter going, okay, Sony, if you bought this studio and then you had this studio buy this studio, why'd you close Liverpool?
Yeah, so because I believe these studios are in the same area, so it would make sense that more Sony Liverpool people would be at this studio as well. Because that was a huge studio. We constantly see like, oh, this studio's built up of people from Sony Liverpool.
Yeah.
All right, and then here is the least surprising acquisition. Sony has officially.
Okay,
acquired...
guy, it's okay. You can release the image now.
Did they release the image? That's the question.
I don't know.
I didn't see it. Sony acquires Blue Point Studios. So this was leaked a couple months ago with the Housemarque thing. Housemarque acquisition. So they announced that they acquired the studio. They're based out of Austin. They apparently only have like 70 people on staff, which is kind of amazing based on how much work they've done. But they always had help from like Sony's Artillery Studios to get their games out. But this is a huge acquisition for Sony in terms of just how consistent. Like if they had let Blue Point slip through their hands, it would have probably made Sony look bad, because we're talking about Demon's Souls Remake, which apparently they did give out numbers on how much Demon's Souls Remake sold. I'm gonna look that up right now.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously they did Demon's Souls Remake, they did Shadow of the Colossus Remake, and they did the Nathan Drake collection. Yeah, all of which have gotten great feedback and renewed, been able to help renew the franchises.
Yeah. So Demon's Souls sold 1.4 million copies, which is kind of respectable.
See, like that's I don't want to dig on it when I say that, but that's the part that it was like going back to the Kojima thing of like, okay, Demon's Souls a smaller franchise than Silent Hill?
Yes. Demon's Souls.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, because Silent Hill goes back to PS1, so therefore it's going to have more, and there's movies based on Silent Hill.
I know, but I agree with you. That it goes back to 2001, but that means that if the people playing Silent Hill in college, they're now like 50. Mm-hmm. So are they still buying a Silent Hill game at 50?
They might. We don't know.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, I've never seen the age data on the games before. Like, we'll probably never get that. But I mean, I know that I'm, in my late 30s and I'm still playing certain games, like even like Destiny. But it just makes you wonder when you see something like, like I look at it, to be 100% honest with you, and I look at a game like Overwatch and I'm like, I feel like, you know what? I'm too old for that game.
Yeah, I can see that. Most people tend to like age out at a certain point, or at least they age out of specific genres. Like, they might still play video games, but there's certain genres they walk away from. But like, considering that, so they also gave out like trophy stats or whatever. So it sold 1.4 million copies, but based on trophy stats, only 30% of the players made it past the first boss, because that's the type of game Demon's Souls is.
Wow. Well, okay.
30%. 30% did not make it past the first boss. So roughly that would be like 400,000.
So 70% did.
Yeah, 70% did.
Okay.
But it just kind of shows you what type of game that is. Where basically the gamer put out the stats of that. Based on the 1.4 million sales, it means 400,000 people did not make it past the first boss.
400,000 people go, oh, I remember this game. I'll play this game. And then they buy it because there wasn't really anything else to play on PS5 at the time. And they go through and they're like, fuck this game. Like,
yeah. So the interesting aspect of the Bluepoint acquisition is when the studio head was talking to IGN, they said that our next project we're working on is original content. We can't talk about what it is right now, but that it's the next step in evolution for us. So they didn't say they're remaking something, but they also
they're buying the Drive Club studio.
No, but they told them like they didn't like when they talked about Fire Sprite and other thing, they said they're making a new IP. They're working with a new IP.
Yeah,
but
new
for this
content.
This one they said original content, but they didn't say new IP, which means what franchise are they going to give them?
So the rumor is that I've seen floating around social media a little bit this week is Bloodborne.
I've been seeing the Bloodborne one too, which makes sense because they just did Demon's Souls.
Correct. But if they're making a new Bloodborne, like a Bloodborne 2, I saw a lot of people going, if From Software is not making this, I ain't playing it.
Yeah, if it's not from
a lot of that.
Yeah. If it's not from, I think the director is Miyazaki. If the director from that is not working on it, I don't think anyone really wants it. The other rumor is Metal Gear Solid, but if the Video Game Chronicles report is accurate, it's not Metal Gear Solid that they're working on.
Do you think that are we at the point where we would want or need a remaster of just Bloodborne?
But the only thing is they said they're working on original content.
I know. So
there is a hunger.
Would they do both?
They only have 70 people though, so could they do both unless they staff up?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wonder. Like, I wonder if they could get try to get a PS5 version of Bloodborne going. And say, if you pre-order Bloodborne 2, you get the 60 frame per second Bloodborne on PS5 and just make it look cleaner and shinier.
But at that point, would From Software get annoyed of just like, oh, so you remade Demon's Souls without us, and now you're remaking Bloodborne without us? Do they care enough as long as the check gets cut?
Right.
Yeah, I feel like they would have said they're remaking something or they got a new IP. So I could see them doing maybe a Bloodborne 2, but to thing you mentioned, like I don't know if fans would be receptive of that.
I feel like Sony and Microsoft are kind of tied with studio acquisitions now.
Yeah, like Sony did the thing where they had to go for smaller ones. The interesting thing is, so I've been listening to Jeff Grubb's podcast, Grub Snacks. And he's constantly asked, like, why are all these acquisitions happening? And apparently what his theory is it has to do with inflation. With inflation expected to be terrible next year, studios technically have money that they need to burn before next year, or that money's going to have less value. So that's why these companies are acquisition hungry, because they're like, we have money to spend now. Let's spend it before it like starts to lose value.
They gotta launder all the dirty money. No, I'm kidding.
Basically. But like, it's interesting to see that like we're at the point now where like, if Fire Sprite is just like, hey, we need to staff up, and Sony is just like, okay, then buy Fabric. We have the money. Let's just do this.
And to your point, like they, Sony spending the money on that sometimes always monster team to make their competitive AAA shooter. The deal they signed with the former Google Stadia lead that's doing the Montreal studio.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that they're essentially, like just okay, like here's 2.5 mil. Go make a game. Like, I don't know. When I say 2.5, I'm just throwing a number out there. But it's money that's off their books. That they like they maybe can't be taxed on or something like that. It's weird. Like, I'm sure that kind of concept gets weird, but it's a fascinating thing to talk about. Like, I heard a term. I listen to sports radio sometimes on my way home from work, and obviously, like, Michigan and Michigan State are both in college football, are both undefeated, and they're supposed to play at the end of the month. And the local radio host, who's got one of like the biggest local shows in the country, he's like, I don't care. He's like, I want what's good for radio. And so, like, and this stuff for us is just awesome. Like, I love, like, when this stuff happens. It's so cool to talk about.
I love the whole acquisition talk. And then another thing that's been going around is apparently, like, Xbox has something like $1 billion earmarked for Game Pass acquisitions that they haven't touched yet.
Well, they just got Avengers, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, they
which means that they have a fantastic deal with Crystal Dynamic, by the way.
Oh yeah, which I wonder if that was all in one negotiation of just like, hey, we'll help you help us.
I wonder, like, do you think that, like, Phil Spencer's like sitting at like a buffet restaurant with somebody, or like this, and they're just going back and forth, like, playing ping pong? All right, well, if we put Avengers on Game Pass, you have to help us with this with whatever they're helping with. I can't think of it even right now.
With Perfect Dark and stuff.
Yeah.
But hearing that, like, Sony basically has money to burn, and then you hear Microsoft has, like, money to burn just for Game Pass, and it sounds like that money could be used for studio acquisitions or just exclusivity deals, is just fascinating. And knowing that, like, this stuff probably all needs to be burned by, like, March 31st, it is going to make the next, like, 6 months fucking fascinating. Just to see these companies just burn through their money, and then these companies are also making money at the same time, so that money they have to burn is just going to get bigger, and they need to decide what to do before the next fiscal year.
I can't like I there's a part of me that can't wait for Halo to come out, just because I want to see the player count. Like, even on the free to play multiplayer side of it, removing Game Pass from it, the player count, and then even saying, okay, so 12% of the players that are playing Halo bought the season pass, and 3% of that 12% bought one season, and that's this much revenue. And then people that are, like, laughing at their budget, and then Microsoft going, like, just flicking money at them, like, look, what?
Well, like, at this point, like, what studios are even available?
2K.
So, like, a big publisher acquisition.
It's gonna be another publisher, like, or you're gonna see something crazy happen, like a merger of, like, EA or Ubisoft or something, because there's been tons of rumors about Ubisoft Plus coming to Game Pass. That $1 billion could work really well for that.
Yeah, that would be enough to pull in 27 Assassin's Creed games.
And again, it's like, fine, tell Ubisoft, like, you can release the game on whatever platform you want. We just want Ubisoft Plus. Yeah.
Like, that would be enough for them. Because, like, at this point, like, do you think a Microsoft or a Take-Two or an EA is looking at Activision getting the shit beat out of it right now, and is just like, I wonder if we wait a little bit longer, as, like, several federal agencies are looking into them. Like,
you want to get rid of this IP before you get smoked?
Yeah, I like, you have to wonder if, like, the companies that are big enough to do that acquisition are looking at that stuff. And because you have, like, right now you have Microsoft, you have.
Would that make the Activision Blizzard problem go away, though, if Microsoft bought them?
It would probably lead to them cleaning house and having a reason to clean house. Because usually you acquire a studio, you keep.
We don't need another head of studio. Yeah. Like, we're good.
Yeah, we have Phil Spencer and Pete Hines. Like, we don't need Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
It could lead to, like, a cleaning house, but, like, if you look at it, you have, like, Microsoft, you have PlayStation, you have Tencent, and to a lower extent, like, Epic Games, all in acquisition mode. You have, like, 4 people in acquisition mode, and then you have just the other studios that are, like, too big to be acquired, but probably wouldn't mind either being acquired or acquiring more studios. You have Netflix now jumping in there. there seems to be a lot of money in the video game industry that's ready to be.
We're in a world right now where Alan Wake is playable on a PlayStation platform this week, and that would have felt weird to say 12 years ago.
Yeah, and also that studio has been like, I feel like everyone has kicked the tires on that studio. Yeah. Of just like, hey, you want to be acquired? You want to be acquired? And so far they've held pat of just like, we are not ready to be acquired. But come like February,
super fascinating, man. Especially like, all right, we need the money to make Alan Wake 2. We need the money to make Control 2. Well, we don't want to just give you the money to make that. We want to have the cake and the frosting and the batter.
Yeah, right now we're basically in the winter meetings for the video game industry. You know, like
it's like when the Tigers got Miguel Cabrera. Like, oh, you got to get Dontrell Willis too. Damn it, really? Yeah. Fine.
Well, that's what we're in, and then we're gonna have that thing where like, it's the last hour of the winter meetings, and then people are just signing people to sign people because they don't want to come home empty-handed. Like, we're at that point where someone's going to look at Zynga and be like, fuck it, PlayStation bought Zynga. Like, what are they going to contribute? Who knows? But we have it now.
The positive is, with all these acquisitions and it being, October now, you really can't delay your game. So we haven't had anything delayed. No,
you can't delay anything. Though if you get acquired, you can then be like, well, we have to delay because we have to get all this paperwork done. Got HR meetings to attend.
So, and then playing and watching, at least for me, is super, super short. Like, if you follow me on social media or on Facebook at all, like, you know that, like, my wife and I got a Peloton exercise bike in the house, and that thing kind of kicked my ass. So I am trying to get into a little bit of better shape and take care of myself. Just, physical health and mental health a little bit better. I feel like everybody could always use that. And we were in a gym for a while, and we just haven't been going to the gym because of mask mandates and irresponsible people, to put it bluntly. So this is something, again, my wife had hip surgery, major reconstructive hip surgery years ago, 10, 12 years ago. So a bike is very low impact for her. So we tried it out. She was able to ride it, and then we got it delivered. And it's pretty big, but it keeps an immense amount of data. It's super interesting.
So it's pricey. Does it come with a subscription, or are you paying every month for the classes?
You pay every month for the classes. So you can buy it's a $1,500 bike. Mm-hmm. So, and there's, a monthly payment thing that you can do. And then there's the class. So I think between once we cancel our gym membership this month, I think we're spending $25 more a month than we were. Mm-hmm. But it's similar to what I mentioned to you before we started recording, of with Jonathan and Zoe in college, full time, 100% now in person, meaning in person as in not in this state, going to the gym on a whim and leaving Owen with them used to be a great option, and now it's not.
Yeah, you lost your free labor.
Yeah, so that's where this came from as well. And then it just this is, even when I would go to the gym and get on a rowing machine or get on a treadmill, I don't know if it wasn't, the on demand or the live instruction has been really good. I don't think I've, in a 20-minute workout session before, I don't think I've sweated as much as I sweat when I cycle now.
Yeah.
So that's good. I don't like the heart rate monitor that I currently have. I will be buying one that maybe goes on my wrist or my elbow. This thing has to go around your chest, under your shirt. Once you get it on, you don't really think it's there. You don't really feel like it's there, but putting it on can be irritating and annoying. But that was towards the end of the week. I know a lot of you guys saw pictures of my sidewalk. The city finally came and put concrete down. So I have a sidewalk again, but the trees are still there. So
they'll run away. It's winter.
Yeah, and then I am getting more adulting stuff done. We're getting a bunch of tree trimming down in our backyard this week. So there's just a lot of things going on that have, are taking up some of my time, as well as Owen is getting older, his activities increase also with full 6 hours at school or 8 hours at school, whatever it is. And other things like that. So just kind of finding that new balance in September and October has been a challenge. I did pick up Sackboy Adventure. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
On sale on the PSN. So Owen and I have been playing that. That game is 100% a Super Mario Brothers game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's really cool looking, and the dynamics and the platforming of it are great. What is the deal with any cooperative game allowing you to smack or punch your partner?
That's always kind of been a thing.
Yeah, except for when you playing with your partner is 6 years old, all he wants to do is slap and punch you.
That sounds like a you problem. You need to set boundaries.
And then he gets mad whenever I get the trophy in the level. Whether it was Mario and I get the crown, or now it's Little Big Planet and you get the trophy. He gets mad. But he doesn't ever try to collect the orbs and find the little secret passages. He just likes to smack the opponents and jump on their heads and run through the level. And
then he wonders why he doesn't get the trophy at the
end. Yes. So yeah, that is pretty much... He's playing Knack again. Knack 2 again. On the PS5. We just downloaded it. I actually haven't... hi, my name is Dave. I haven't played Destiny in 14 days. Partially because of the adulting in life, and I have another game that I've briefly started. I have Far Cry 6, but that's the extent of what I can say.
Yeah. Got Far Cry 6 for review, but it's under embargo until Wednesday, and we're recording on Tuesday.
And I'm not gonna go head deep into the game, because if I'm gonna mess around with co-op, I want to mess around with co-op with in the community with some of the community members and stuff. And I also do want to mess with Ubisoft was nice enough to send me an Xbox code and a PlayStation code. I asked them for a PlayStation code, and I think their marketing deal with Xbox just made it that it had to come with an Xbox code, to be honest with you. Because I've noticed a ton of advertisements for Far Cry, and they're all for Xbox.
Yeah.
And so I do want to mess with the Ubisoft Connect stuff, which is supposed to be cross-save, as well as the co-op stuff. I don't know if there's cross-play in it, so that's actually what I do want to check out as well. So
yeah, I was going to say, if there's cross-play, then I'll hop on Xbox.
Yeah, I have to look into that before I redeem that code.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
So... Because now I'm but yeah, look for some Far Cry streams, hopefully, to get back into streaming. I know you guys have been asking one of us to stream. And as long as you don't mind me streaming from the living room with the PlayStation camera on the couch, I'm game for it. Getting down into the office sometimes is a little bit of a challenge, having to move all my consoles and stuff, because my son took my second console, which is really his console. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of trash movies. I wasn't really feeling good on Monday. Fell down the Taken hole. I watched Taken 1 and 2. I hadn't really seen those in a while. So, pretty good action movies. Liam Neeson, funny, not funny, but just good action movies. And I, for some reason, on Hulu, I watched The Social Network again, the Facebook lawsuit thing from 2010 when I couldn't sleep. So, just watching that in 2021 was just fascinating. So
yeah.
So that's it for me.
So. For me, it's just more Deathloop, getting closer and closer to probably I could finish the game.
But you don't want to.
Yeah, I still have fun with the mechanics of just seeing how far I can get away with messing up and then getting myself out of the situation. I will say as I mess with it more, I realize that the AI is actually kind of shit in that game, but it doesn't affect the way I it doesn't affect my enjoyment at all that the AI shit. I end up just kind of having fun with the fact that the AI kind of gives up really fast, or it's very easy to get out of sticky situations when that game, because it's very easy to accidentally mess up your stealth or not see a character in the bushes, and then when you kick someone off the cliff, they notify everyone in the area that you're there, and then it's easy to run away or just take care of them. So doing Deathloop still. I did mess with the Halo Infinite beta when I got back from vacation. Played probably an hour of the 12v12 mode. I will say it looks fantastic in the beta. It plays like Halo, which is I think what everyone wants from that. The only thing that I walked away from it is me wondering, is that enough? Fun. It was played like Halo. Cool. But was there enough in that multiplayer experience that I'm I want to play Halo again, or will it be able to actually keep people's attention when it comes out?
I think that depends on how they deal with the seasonal content.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be what the roadmap is and what the seasonal content is, just because gameplay mechanics can only take you so far, and there is a dedicated Halo community that will stick with this and enjoy it, and it will become the default Halo experience.
Yeah, and also balance of the game, like how the game feels.
Yeah, they will have that dedicated audience, and it will be the definitive like Halo to play. But what does that mean for the grand scheme of things in terms of bringing people in and continuing to support like the audience? I don't. I think
it's all going to come down to marketing. It's all going to come down to how they handle the seasonal content. I've seen a lot of people talking about like, oh, the game just doesn't look like it's a next gen game. Yeah, because it's not. Yeah. it's a multiplayer. They do not. I hate to say this. I don't really think that they care about the campaign, but the campaign is not the focus. They are trying to figure out how to get. They want the competitive shooter Halo. They want to see people doing tournaments on Twitch or whatever that they want, or whatever streaming platform that they're on. They want to see high competitive, balanced shooting mechanics that bring people into the game and want them to play season over season, and they see cool things that they can earn in the game cosmetically and keep them coming back.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
Because so far, it's been 2 generations since Xbox had a multiplayer game that hit like it used to on the 360 era.
If they can be half as successful as Overwatch as a free-to-play game, they'll make money hand over fist.
Yeah, I still think it's kind of crazy that right now, like Microsoft and PlayStation don't have an online, like a big online marquee game. They're both trying to find that, but it's more important, I think, for Xbox to find
Halo, one. Halo has to be it more than whatever Sony's can or cannot release. Yeah,
because whatever Sony brings to the multiplayer market will feel new because it's Sony. Why Xbox is playing with established brands that if they don't hit, then it's worrisome. But not in a way, not like in a doom and gloom Microsoft's Doom.
I'll just be really, really curious about the marketing behind Halo and how they market the free-to-play. Like, this thing needs to be all over the playoffs and the baseball playoffs and all over football. All over it.
And not confuse the audience of just like, are they going to advertise the campaign and a multiplayer in the same ad, or are they going to do those completely separate and cause confusion?
Get the multiplayer player, and then they'll be like, oh, the campaign's on. The campaign's out. Oh, it's on Game Pass. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if that will lead to confusion of just like, well, it's a Game Pass game, but it's also a $60 game at retail, and also the multiplayer is free to play. Yeah. It could lead to some confusion.
Get them on the multiplayer first, and then just pepper them with ads in the multiplayer, like Call of Duty does.
And then do a second set of ads when they get the co-op in of like, hey, you remember when you played LAN? It's Deathloop, Halo. I ended up not taking my Switch on vacation just because I realized in previous years I just don't use it. I'll play it on the plane, and then depending on who's sitting next to me, I'll quickly put it away.
That depends on what library of games Michael plays.
If it's Danganronpa, not really going to do that. Last week it was we were in California, me and Sarah, so we went to Disneyland a couple days. Actually met up with some friends like in the middle of that, and all went to Disneyland together, which is the first time we've ever done that. Like, me and Sarah have only ever gone by ourselves. We've never gone with like friends, which was like a cool experience of just kind of checking in with each other throughout the day, as opposed to having all 4 of us just hang out. Got to ride the Rise of the Resistance, the Star Wars ride. That thing breaks down a lot. It broke down like twice when we were in line, and each time they had to give us like a fast pass to come back. Each time broke down, but once we got on it, that is like the coolest ride, and I don't give a shit about Star Wars, especially the new trilogy, but that ride is just mind-blowing. How amazing it was. And for the most part,
how long was the make your own lightsaber line?
When we went 2 years ago, that line was huge. Now, pandemic, 2 years out.
You've made your own lightsaber before?
No, it's expensive. It's like $200 to make your own lightsaber. But our friend that we met up with he's a super Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So he was definitely. I was like, oh, let's go into the shop, and then he was just like, we gotta leave, like, because he was just ready to.
He's like, otherwise I'm gonna spend $200. Get me out of here.
Yeah. So that was cool. The weather was mostly nice too, which wasn't bad. Like, our last day was like really hot, but like the previous days it was like 70. But like 90 degrees in California is different than 90 degrees in Chicago. It's so much nicer.
Because there's an ocean.
Yeah. It's significantly better weather-wise. But yeah, awesome. It was just getting tired of running around, getting like 15 to 20 miles of walking each day.
Yeah. So it's like your old not behind the counter days at
Yeah,
retail.
yeah. It's definitely, it hit us harder because we've been in lockdown for about a year than previous years. But overall, it was a really fun trip. And then
Awesome.
I got back and all I did was like Halo, because Halo had like 2 windows a day where you can play. So I was able to
The
get,
schedule was kind of weird. So
I was only able to get like a 2-hour session.
we get Battlefield this week though, right?
Yeah, there's an open beta for Battlefield this
Yeah.
week, so I'll probably mess with that on Xbox. Because Sarah is
Isn't the choice like a great thing? Like, oh, okay, cool, I can just do this.
Well, because right now, like, Sarah's not playing Final Fantasy 14 because she's already done all the content. She's waiting for the next expansion in November. So right now she's just going to replay through all the Kingdom Hearts games. Just because she's in a Kingdom Hearts mood. So she's playing through the Kingdom Hearts game. So I'm probably going to be living on Xbox and Switch. You can't see it on Twitch, but I just touched the Xbox that's right next to me. So I'm probably going to be living on Xbox and
It's his new space heater when it gets cold in Chicago too.
Dude, this thing freaks me out because every once in a while I'll accidentally put something on top of the Xbox, and even though it's off, the thing on top of it will heat up, and I'm just like, oh god, that thing's constantly pumping heat.
Yeah, Ansel walked by the PS5 that I have on a shelf in a console, or in a cabinet. It's an open air cabinet, but there's like fireplace, like an electric fireplace below it. There's a shelf, and then the TV sits on the top shelf. And she walked by. And she must have had her hand out, and she's like, "Why does that thing feel like it's on fire?" Like,
yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Luckily I still can't hear my PlayStation, but I only play that for Deathloop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of all that I've been playing. It's just been vacation engagement all of last week.
Yeah. Again, super congratulations on the engagement. Super happy for you. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we had a lot of news to go over, so and we didn't really get a lot of questions this week, so we are going to skip the questions segment because we are running about the time goal that we have anyways. So if you have questions for us, please send them to us using hashtag AskDigitalDays. There's a channel thread in Discord, a specific room for it. You can put them on the Facebook's group as well. You can just tweet them either at Michael's handle, my handle, the main handle. So the main handle is at Digital Days Pod. Michael's is at the first MJC. Make sure you send him engagement congratulations galore. And then my handle is at Good Dave Hunt. So again, you can join the Facebook group and the Discord server where that you can again post those questions or just have conversations with the community or set up times to play games. We've got some people looking to play Division 2. We've got some people that have been, some overseas folks that do a lot of like Rainbow Six and some other games. So there's definitely some, there's a time frame for you to play with somebody in the community if you so choose. It looks like I need to download Division 2. So just to hang out with some of the people that want to be playing through Discord and through Twitch and Facebook. So there's definitely some things going on there. So all those links are in the show notes. Patreon.com/DigitalDaysGaming, where we did just release a Patreon episode for September of the greatest year in gaming. So that's part of the $7 tier. So feel free to check that out for $7. And with that, you get you get access to the $1 tier is for the tip jar. The $3 gets you a private channel Discord access. $5 gets you the numbered episodes 24 hours early. And $7 gets you that monthly bonus episode we talked about. And you actually get a separate feed. We've had a couple of people ask some questions about that, whether it's the monthly episode or the $5, the 24-hour early access. You get, even if you use something like Podcast Addict, there is a separate link feed through Patreon that you get. So like on my feed, I have the only way I can tell them apart is the Patreon Digital Days logo for us on Patreon is a black background logo, and the one that you guys see is a gray background logo for the free one. So you could have two separate feeds. So just as a lot of people, I like to use my player and listen to it in the car. You can still do that. So that's just food for thought. Curry, nobody's that old. So I was 5. Curry's like clamoring about 1987 for a year.
I'm sure that was great at a certain point. You know,
that was back in the day when Ricky Henderson was fast. Okay. But yep, so those are all there. The links are in the show notes. There's a PayPal donation link there if you just want to throw us a buck or whatever, you can do that as well. Just multiple things that you guys have asked for. Teesprings.com. It's getting kind of fall-y and cold. Like there's some cool hoodies, Digital Days Gaming hoodies and t-shirts there. So check those out. Other than that, I don't think I got anything else. Michael, you got anything?
No. Just we got to play some games. I have to catch up on games. You have Far Cry.
Yeah.
I'm probably picking up Nickelodeon All Stars this week. Back for Blood is next week.
I want an OLED Switch and I want Metroid.
Oh yeah, I have Metroid pre-ordered because I think I found a coupon on Amazon like 6 months ago or something stupid.
Oh, nice.
So I'm getting Metroid on Friday. Doki Doki Literature Club comes out on Friday as well. So like I forgot I pre-ordered that like 6 months ago.
October. We talked about October.
Yeah, it's hitting. So we'll have a bunch of stuff to talk about next week. And then like the White Sox are in the playoffs. I gotta watch that, and they're against the Stros.
Nobody cares about that team. You're gonna get your butt kicked.
No, this is the year.
Uh-huh.
It's the year that the Dodgers beat us in the World Series or something.
Yes. Get through Tampa Bay there, buddy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hope everyone has a great week. Keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.